Hello. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so I'm Tiffany. Thank you all so much for being here. So during my fellowship, I went to a bigger question. So instead of kind of staying with ageism in dance, I opened up with a bigger question of actually like, who is this form for? And specifically with ballet. So I was a contemporary modern dancer. That's where like I lived. That's how I made my career. And but I've always loved ballet, but it was one of those things that I never really felt it was for me. But I was like, but does it matter? And do I care? Like I love it and I want to do it. So as I got older and developed my career, I got commissioned by ballet companies, and it was really interesting because I got a better understanding of like why this was for me, and then maybe why I thought it wasn't for me, equal parts. And so with my project, I just wanted to ask the question of like with ballet, like who is this for? And so I have a little like 3-minute trailer that gives a little bit of the insight into kind of what I was thinking, what my collaborators and I were doing at CBA. And so I think we'll start with that, and then we can keep it going from there. So if we can show the trailer, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Left heel, left heel, left heel, left heel.
She's beautiful. I'm short compared to her.
Teacher gave arms, but I feel like I always do my own.
Pull my shoulder blades back. Maybe hunch forward too much.
I should have gotten here like 5 minutes ago.
First thing you do off the bar, I'm never on my leg.
And time is late.
My quads are really sore from last night.
This is not every time.
How to do it, I'll just tell
I
you.
wish I could.
How come every single time I do?
How many times in your career do you think you've heard "leave your baggage at the door"?
Every so often. Like, it's one of the most common phrases when you're in a ballet class or a ballet rehearsal. You are told to leave your baggage at the door and to be a blank slate. And that's great because you can be moldable, you don't have any distractions, and as a member of a corps, you're expected to just kind of be identical to everybody around you. And coming into it, I'm not going to be identical to everyone around me just based off of my physicality. And also for me as a dancer, it's so important to acknowledge that the way that movement manifests in my body is so directly connected to my physical history and my ancestral history and the blueprints that are already laid out and make up who I am as a person. That all comes through in my movement. So leaving the baggage at the door makes no sense, because how can you remove that from your physical body? And especially with something like ballet, where the person that made the art form itself did not make it with someone like me in mind.
So you come and have a varied cultural background. So how do you bring that cultural background into your artistry? Thank you. So right now, I think where I'm going to go with the project is that I have 3 subject matters, people who will be the subject of the film, and people that when we think of ballet, and I'm thinking like the 19th century or the early 20th century version of ballet, because one of the things is that ballet it existed long before I think how we think about it now, but at some point we all decided like, nope, this is what it is, and that kind of just went away. I don't know where that went, but that version does not include a lot of people that I think it should include. And so I have a dancer who is non-binary who really walked away from the field because they felt really that it wasn't for them, and they really had to work to find that entry point and find that joy and that love again. And then with Aji, who's also a fellow, she is an African German who is 6 feet when she puts on her pointe shoes, right? And so that's also not necessarily what people think about. And then we have people who are more mature in their career. And I think as someone who loves the field and as someone who loves ballet, I don't want like brain drain to go away. You know, like these voices and these experiences will only add to the field. And so when they feel it's not for them, or at a certain point they feel like they've aged out or that their body can't fit into the thing, it makes me worried for the field. It makes me worried for the craft. And so to be able to be like, no, this is for you. And it brought up the idea that's like, well, if what we think is ballet is only this thing, if it starts to do this, does it turn into something else? And do we need to call it something else? And do we need to go in a different way? Or is that just the evolution of it and we can expand and move forward with tradition? Or is it so stuck in time in our hearts and minds and maybe in the craft that it does need to be something else altogether? So that's kind of what I'm exploring. I don't have the answer right now. I don't know, and I don't know that I'll be the one to figure it out. But that's where I'm going with it. And so with this idea of kind of evolution and where things can be, and at what point does something become something else, I wanted to explore that also with the movement. So for the next part of the presentation, I want to show you a movement phrase that I did on Maddie. So Maddie was the beautiful dancer who was like silhouetting and looking amazing. She's here, lucky us. So I'm gonna have her do the phrase as I created it on her plainly. I'm going to then show you all how we worked with 1245 to manipulate it and so that the body turns into just shape. And then I'll also show you how we manipulated it for space, because we then took it and put it in a doorway. So it was also on point, first of all, so it'll come off a point. It will be here. We'll show it to you in its original form here. We'll show it to you here. And then we had also manipulated it so that it could be in a doorway for this space. And it like wedges itself so that she could be off the ground and wedged in between. And then we realized like that doorway is much wider than we thought. So then we manipulated it again. So those are the 3 ways. So if you will please help me in welcoming Maddie Lalonde to the stage. guys. Okay, so when I did it originally, Maddie's on point, but usually have a Marley floor, so I didn't have her do it on point there. So that's also another manipulation that happened. From that, we took some of the ballet from the footage, and then we'll show you what happened here, and then we'll go to the doorway. Okay, so that was one of the things that we were playing with as well. And what I really like about this is that, everything that I'm working with is an original composition by 1245, which is really fantastic, but that she in real time gets to make the visual decisions about what's happening. And so who better than the person to compose it to kind of take us on that ride? So yeah, so I think that's really, really, exciting to be able to again take something that is usually thought of in very specific spaces and on very specific bodies, and really kind of deconstruct it and manipulate it into a way that it can become almost psychedelic. All right, so Maddie, we'll show how we altered this over in this little corner for you as well. Wonderful, Maddie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I think, just summing it up, even Maddie, who you see, she's just stunning, felt like this was not for her. And so it makes me really angry, but my artistic practice is centered in joy. So I was like, well, I can't say, yeah. It's centered in joy, but it's like, no, let's just reclaim it. Because I feel like lots of time the anger can just, it will fester, and it can make you paralyzed as well. So it's like, no, let's do something about it. Let's claim that, and let's make this art form better by including all the voices that want to be part of it, because I think that's actually what's going to make it better. So bringing in, contemporary modern choreographers, bringing in DJs, bringing in voices that have been told that they can't be here, that want to be here and can be here, I think is the way and the move of the future. And when I think about dance, it has to move future forward. Like, dance and music was here before the wheel. It's part of us, and it is our cultural makeup, and it's our cultural duty to move it forward as we evolve. So that's what we're doing, and that's all I have to say. So thank you so much.